Good morning and welcome to the Peak District again. So today's walk starts at Heather Dean Car Park on the banks of Ladybower Reservoir, which you can see in the background there. Today's walk is 8-9 kilometres. We're going over Bamford Edge, down into the village of Bamford, visiting their old cotton mill, which is now residential, and then we're coming back up the old railway line that was used to build the dam wall for Ladybower Reservoir. So yeah, it's a beautiful day again today. The sun is out, it's autumnal. It's going to be a great day. So the car parks are down there. This is the toilet block and information centre. So we'll start from here. And go down this path. Ladybower Reservoir. This is the dam wall, which we'll come over on our way back. But first, we've got to get up onto Bamford Edge. So I believe we're being diverted this way. Straight up there. So basically what I've done is followed a path which is following this fence line, which is keeping people out of the forestry works area, and they've diverted the footpath around here to hop over this stile onto a path on that side. So we've just hopped over that stile, crossed over this little stream, and we're just going to be following this path, which sort of skirts underneath the edge and climbs and should pop us out onto the edge itself. Bamford Edge. So the path that I'm on is following this wall now, which looks like it surrounds the plantation, and keep crossing this little stream. We just climbed up here, followed this wall up, and now we're going to separate from the wall, leave the plantation behind, and go up this path through natural woodland up onto the edge. Wow, what a beautiful path. From here you can see what the forestry have been doing. They've been thinning out, giving a bit more room for the trees which have been left to grow. It's mainly oak in this little woodland. at the path. Right, we're popping out. What view have we got? Let's have a look. Wow! Win Hill in all its glory. Kinder. The east end of Kinder. Crookstone, I think. The viaduct, Ladybower Reservoir, looking low again. So I've just crossed over a bit of a wall and I've come to this Y junction. We're going to turn right, should lead us up onto the top. The views are magnificent. Win Hill, Lewes Hill, Kinder, Crookstone, I think these are, Ladybower Res, Derwent Edge, beautiful. Okay, so we've reached the path at the top. Well, that was fairly easy. Ooh, we turn right. Head along there. So as we're walking along this path, the views are magnificent. This is the path, slowly rising to get to the top of the crag. Yorkshire Bridge down there, and the estate that was built specifically for the villagers that were turned out of their houses to develop the reservoir. What we're looking at there is the kilometre, just up the right hand side of Parking Clough, as a footpath goes up right up to the summit of Win Hill. The kilometre straight up. It's a big drop. It's like the main buttress here. The famous climbing spot. See the climbers traverse down there, where the climbers come and get to the bottom of the crag. So looking up Hope Valley, in the Castleton Cement Works, Mamto, and the Great Ridge running all the way around. This eventually brings you to Lewes Hill, which is behind here, behind Win Hill. The eastern edges are made up of millstone grit. This is a type of sandstone. And you can see the striations which have been laid down over millennia to create these big buttresses. Up until fairly recently, I'm going to say the year 2000, because that's when the Crow Act came into being, and we had access to these moors as walkers, visitors. These moors were privately owned, or are privately owned. The owners really didn't want anybody coming onto here because of the grouse shooting. They protect the moors, they manage the moors for the grouse shooting, which does bring quite a lot of income in. Many hundreds of pounds per gun to come shooting in the shooting season. You may have heard over the wind some of the grouse calling to each other as we've been walking along. But the Crow Act allows us to walk on these hills, but we do need to be respectful of the landowners and the grouse and the way that they make the money shooting the grouse. So dogs must be on a short lead, and they really don't want you wild camping up here as well, because it does disturb the wildlife. Spot of lunch with homemade sausage rolls. Okay, so we've come to a point where the main path divides. You can bear right, where that chap's going, and that will take us to where we need to be on New Road. We'll cross over and then we follow a track down to Bamford Village. But what we're going to do is bear left, which takes us onto this sort of secondary edge of Bamford Edge. And behind here is Bamford Moor. Has evidence of Bronze Age tribes living on here. There's Bronze Age, Iron Age, Roman, potential Roman, I should say. So we're going to go follow this little sort of secondary edge. And what we should see also is Stanage Edge. Get a really nice view of Stanage Edge. Right, so we're just getting to a point. We're getting onto the edge. There we go. Bamford Moor. Behind is Stanage Edge. The famous Stanage Edge. Remember a few minutes ago I said potentially Roman. Some people think that the causeway, which is that path there, that track, could be Roman. So what we're doing is following the subsidiary edge along, and then we're going to drop down to those tops of those trees down there where there's a road. We've been following this edge on this path. That's going to take us down the edge over there, and it's going to drop us down onto New Road. Then we're going to turn right just down to the plantation. Some of the greatest climbs in the world are on these eastern edges, these grit stone edges. People from all over the world come to test their abilities on these crags. Descending now down into the Derwent Valley. Very important industrial valley, the Derwent. We're going to see one of the mills. It was originally a corn mill, and then it was bought out by a Manchester company who, being on the wrong side of the Pennines, processed cotton and not wool. So it was a cotton mill for quite a while, until it became residential. In fact, you can just about see it. See the large building? That's the cotton mill. I'll be crossing the river, going through that field there, and then picking up the disused railway. Bamford Mill. You can see the road now. So we're just following this down to the roadway. Then we're going to turn right on the road and then take that lane at the top of the plantation down into Bamford. I've just crossed over that stile. There's a few car parking spots here. We're walking down New Road down towards the plantation. Very helpful. Apparently they're doing some work on here, so the byway open to all traffic is closed, although there is a gap for persons to pass. Looks like there's a few people walking up and down here. Looks like this has just been resurfaced recently. Hopefully I won't get turned around. What's this? Interesting artwork. Yeah, it's very steep. There's any ice on here? Nope. Unless you've got crampons or spikes of some description. Looks like it's going to get steeper. Yep, it's got a bit steeper. Toes are coming to the end of the shoes. Haven't seen anybody working yet. Just on the right there's a private road up to a big house. So still carrying on down here. Get down into the village in a bit. Where there's a bit of a baker's and a shop and toilets and what have you. And a decent inn, pub, do meals, drinks. We've just got to the bottom again now. So it's definitely passable for pedestrians. There's a permanent sort of gap. You just don't want vehicles going up and down it. And this takes us into the village. just come down there. Yep, absolutely it is. School kids are out, enjoying playtime. We'll just continue down here to the main road. There's like a village triangle, village square, just down here. A bit of a bench to have a rest on. We've just come down from the left. This is the village triangle. Nice seats to sit on. I'm going to cross over the main road and just go about 10 metres before we turn right. The village triangle is just behind me. I've crossed over the road and we're going to go down this narrow track. I'll just follow this now down to the mill. So we're approaching the mill now. There's a bit of a garden on this side. Big signpost. And we follow this across here. To the next signpost, following the public footpath, which looks like somebody's drive, but this takes us down to the river. So the mill is on our left hand side. You can see where the wheel was. And the race gate is here. It's all been preserved, but it won't be working, but it's been preserved. And the mill pond. Beautiful. Go across these, I'm going to call them stepping stones. That's a bit of a causeway. You can see the weir. Like an infinity pool. Bamford Mill. Can you imagine it working as a cotton mill? Lots of noise and dust. And the houses that we passed through earlier would have been for the workers. Making sure that they're on site 12 hours a day, grafting for the mill owner. Magnificent. Right, we'll cross this wooden bridge. Now we've got some more artwork. Depicting the mill and the workers, steam train. Yeah, interesting. And of course, what is actually missing from this mill is the big chimney. We've made our way across the bridge and we're going to follow the footpath across to that gate by the tree over there. There's a spot of lunch up there, so don't forget to look behind you because you get some nice views. And we're heading to that gate over there. So we're going to go through this gate on this bit of track across to that gate. Okay, so I've just come through gate number 2 in this sequence. I've come across this signage which is saying go up the hill and not along the track. Private land, no access, but we have the public right of way which is taking us up there. So we don't go through that third gate, we'd head up this grass banking. So this is the muddy embankment we've just climbed, following the waymarks. We're going up here to that signpost, and we're going to turn right on the old railway line. Up the wooden stairs. And we're on the disused railway line. She nearly got me. More of the artwork. It's like farming, this one. So the disused railway line we're on, single track, and it was used to transport building materials for the dam construction. So that would be mainly stone, timber. Some of the workers would have been on there as well at some point, no doubt. Yeah, would have been a busy line. Okay, so we've got a bit of a car park to my left, which means we've got a road crossing coming up. I think that noise is a leaf blower. Just one of them noises that's a bit annoying. And you can see where we're going. Straight across, through a gate. Mr. Obadiah leaf blower, he's still at it. It's like having tinnitus for the last half an hour. Luckily, I'm walking away from him now. I can barely hear it. So yeah, lots of these wood carvings, what they're calling missing animals. Lots of interesting things to see. Woody woodpecker, owl, squirrels, deers. Yeah. Bamford Edge is still in view all the way along this path. Got Win Hill to my left and Bamford Edge to my right. Marvellous. So that last carving we've just seen was a wild boar, and what they're saying is they're missing from this environment. When I was walking on the Camino in northern Spain, it was very early in the morning, the sun had only just come up, and I was walking up this remote part through what would have been sunflower plants, but they've been harvested, and ooh, a squirrel, a giant squirrel. And what only as I can describe as a train, a steam train of wild boar ran across the trail in front of me. It was a distance away, 50-60 metres away, but it was like a steam train passing in front of you. Probably about a dozen boar in a line, travelling from left to right across the trail at full speed. It was magnificent. Never seen anything like that before. And yeah, apparently they used to roam these woods a long time ago. All been eaten since then. We've just gone through that gate and we've left the nature reserve behind. And we're continuing along here. You may remember me talking about Parking Clough. Yeah, this is the bottom end of the Parking Clough. The killer kilometre, which goes up on the right hand side. One of my favourite signs. Footpath Society. But to get to Parking Clough from Yorkshire Bridge, you have to climb these steep steps from the access road at the bottom there. Yorkshire Bridge is to the right. So the railway line used to continue straight ahead through that gate, but we are now leaving that. picking up this tarmac road, which in a short space of time will bring us to the dam wall. Ladybower dam wall. So what do I think about this walk? Well, we parked up. There were some diversions to get around the logging operation. So followed that path around, which ended up being really nice. Then we went up onto the edge, which we can see behind us here, and along, then down that steep tarmac path down into Bamford, crossed the river at Bamford Mill, picked up the disused railway line, cyclist coming by, picked up the disused railway line, which has brought us now to the dam wall. Yeah, really nice day out. Thought, why don't you give it a go? Get out here. It's fantastic. So until next time, happy hiking. I've just come up there. Bamford Edge in the background. And this is the top of the dam wall. So this gate. Known as a plug hole. Not enough water in it at the minute.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir. Got to help our fellow human beings, even if they are cyclists. Ladybower Reservoir, built after the Second World War. So this is the third reservoir to be built in the Derwent Dams. Always a good day out. Bamford Edge. So we go through these gates. I'll cross over here. To the commemorative memorial. The information. Howden is the top dam, Derwent is the middle dam, Ladybower is the lower dam. So, as I said earlier, we go up these stairs, back on the footpath back to the car park. So we're now back on the footpath. That will take us back to the car park. Just take about 5 minutes to get back. And I hope you've had a good day out. I certainly have. Been excellent. It's a bit muddy in places. You need to watch your step on some of the up and downy bits. But yeah, it's an excellent day out. See you again in the next one.